Prologue. A sound that breaks nerves. Before the first bombs fell. Before the explosions tore the ground. Before the soldiers saw the planes. They heard a scream. A piercing, inhuman sound that cut through the air. It was not a siren. It was not a whistle. It was the Jericho Trumpet, a special siren mounted on the chassis of the German Junkers Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber. This sound became the first weapon of the aircraft. For the Stuka attacked not only the body, it attacked the psyche. Chapter 1. The birth of a weapon of fear. The Junkers Ju-87 was created in the 1930s for one purpose: incredibly accurate dive bombing. At the time, most bombers dropped their bombs from a height, relying only on their sights. The Stuka was different. It could dive at an angle of up to 90 degrees, almost vertically, keeping the target in sight until the moment of release. This made the Stuka one of the most accurate attack aircraft of its era. Its structure was unusual. Fixed landing gear, characteristic curved gull wings, powerful brake flaps for rapid dives, sirens that were activated during the attack. Before the bomb touched the ground, the soldiers were already paralyzed with fear. Chapter 2. Tests in the Spanish Civil War. The first real testing ground for the Stuka was the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939. Here the Stuka showed its character, accuracy, efficiency, and psychological effect. The Germans used the Stuka to destroy bridges, railways, warehouses, equipment. The blow was accurate, fast, and terrible. It was then that the world first felt this cry of death. Chapter 3. Blitzkrieg. Moment of glory. In the years 1939 to 1941, the Stuka became a symbol of lightning war, Blitzkrieg. During the invasion of Poland, 1939, the Stuka literally broke the defense for years. Destroyed roads. Destroyed columns of equipment. Attacked the rear. Stopped retreating troops. With the arrival of the Stuka, the front fell apart. In Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, Greece, Yugoslavia, and France, the Stuka played a key role. Destroyed bridges before the defenses had time to blow them up. Smashed Allied colonies on narrow mountain roads. Suppressed fortifications with direct hits. It was a machine that worked in symbiosis with panzer divisions. They broke through the front. The Stuka cleared the way. Chapter 4. Psychological effect. A weapon that is not visible. The Jericho Trumpet siren was installed specifically to scare the enemy. From a military point of view, it was not needed. But from a psychological point of view, it became one of the most brutal instruments of war. Allied soldiers said, "We heard the Stuka and our knees were weakening. He hadn't even dropped the bombs yet, and we were already broken." The sound was like the cry of a strange animal or the siren of the apocalypse. British, French, and Polish troops were panicking. Columns were abandoning their equipment. The retreat was turning into chaos. The Stuka was the first aircraft in history to attack nerves, not just targets. Chapter 5. Victory turned into defeat. The Battle of Britain. In 1940, the Stuka first encountered something that was not on the ground: the British Spitfire and Hurricane fighters. And here the main defect of the aircraft was revealed. It was excellent in diving, but very slow when hunted. The Spitfire was fast, maneuverable, and more modern. The Stuka became easy prey. The losses were so great that the Wehrmacht command ordered the Ju-87 to be withdrawn from operations over Britain. This was the first blow to the Stuka myth. Chapter 6. Return to the Eastern Front. In 1941, during Operation Barbarossa, the Stuka again became a deadly weapon. Against the Soviet troops, it again became effective. Huge columns of equipment. There is modern air defense. Chaos of the first months of the war. The Stuka destroyed bridges, hit tanks, columns, and railways. In the first week, it was almost unpunished. Especially terrible was the modification of the Ju-87G. The Kanonenvogel, equipped with 37mm cannons for destroying tanks. German ace Hans-Ulrich Rudel brought this tactic to art, reporting all the destroyed T-34s. Chapter 7. Decline, New War, Old Machine. By 1943, the Stuka had become obsolete. Too slow. Poorly protected. A target for new fighters. Neither camouflage nor escort fighters helped. The Stuka was losing its role as a striking force. It was still used to support troops, but no longer as a weapon of Blitzkrieg. It had become a machine that fought in conditions for which it was not designed. Chapter 8. The Last Years, From Fear to Victim. In 1944 to 1945, the Stuka was tried to be abandoned as a night bomber, but without success. Now the skies were dominated by American Mustangs, British Spitfire Mark 9, Soviet Yak 9, and La-7. The Stuka could not compete. From a plane that changed the course of battles, it turned into a technique that was destroyed before it could dive. Finale, legacy, the sound that penetrates time. The Stuka lived through 2 wars. The real war, where it was accurate, effective, but short-lived. The psychological war, where its sound became a legend of horror. It was one of the most recognizable planes of World War II. Its scream is still recognizable to anyone who has ever seen it on record. The Stuka was not just a weapon. It was an instrument of fear, a machine that broke thousands of nerves even before it dropped a bomb, a symbol of the Blitzkrieg, and proof that wars are won not only with metal, but also with psychology. Today, the Stuka is just an exhibit in museums, but the sound of its siren still reminds us. Sometimes the most terrible weapon is not an explosion. The most terrible weapon is the expectation of an explosion.